and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man, and today I'm with an old university friend who
very old
caught me YouTubing. He's randomly caught me YouTubing, which I don't know how I feel about. But this Wars Pawned Paintings, which is his company name. I'll call him Wars.
Yeah, I paint Warhammer models for a living.
Yeah, cool. So we're discussing Zack Snyder's Justice League, and obviously I have some strong feelings about it. Like, I think it's basically a masterpiece. And did you see Endgame and Infinity War?
I saw Infinity War, but I haven't seen Endgame yet.
Wow. Okay. So
I know because
you weren't impressed by Infinity War.
No, I loved Infinity War.
And you just thought, I can't be bothered to watch the end.
Well, no, because it kind of came in with some troubles that I had put on a personal level. Like,
okay.
Just with depression. I remember it exactly. I remember watching Civil War for the first time.
Yeah.
And about half an hour in, I was like, I'm bored.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was just bored, and I kind of had my fill of superheroes by then.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyway,
I know what you mean. It's getting it's getting very. I don't.
Because we were getting 4 or 5 of these films a year at one point. It was just like.
Yeah, but it's all MCU movies, and I don't like the fact that they're all the same tone and they feel the same, and I don't like all the humor.
Yes, but they're like that for a very good reason.
Yeah, no, because it's part of the same.
Done that in the best way to make money, shall we say?
Yeah, but it's also really it's like McDonald's. Do you know what I mean? That's the best way to make money from food.
You can't blame them for that, because in order to recoup the kind of cost of these films, you need to bring in all the normies.
Yeah. No, I'm not blaming them for it. I just find it like. I remember walking out of The Dark Knight and thinking, finally, they're doing what I've been reading in comics for so long, right? Like this is it, and like walking out of films like Watchmen or Kick-Ass or and just thinking, yes, let's do things where like they're individual, like real films that take this comic book material seriously. V for Vendetta, the same kind of thing, and then the Marvel Universe happened. Yeah. And I liked Iron Man a lot, and I even like all the Iron Man
was great.
movies.
I was working in the cinema when Iron Man came out, and I remember watching it because it was one of the perks of working at a cinema is, especially if you're a projectionist like I was, you have to watch the film to make sure there's no problems with it.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, I've got to stay behind after work and watch Iron Man. Oh no.
Yeah, that's a nice job.
It's awful.
But yeah, no, I saw Iron Man and I thought that was a really nice start to the universe. I even liked the Incredible Hulk and all of that.
Yeah, I liked the Incredible Hulk as well. I liked Thor, because I was thinking, how the hell are they going to do Thor?
Yeah,
how
but
are they going to do that?
Then they just made it. They made all the characters, to me, start being very similar in the sense of it was all kind of, one-liners, jokes,
they have to be likable,
Yeah, but I didn't find it necessary. I know a lot of people find it likable, but I just find it a little bit silly. Whereas with Iron Man, it suits that character, but when it's Thor, and he's making
Robert Downey Jr.
trying to be
casting as well.
Yeah. And Captain America, I like that one.
I love that. I love the first Captain America movie, and Winter Soldier to me is the perfect action film.
Yeah, I like that because it's a bit more serious. Captain America films have just been the one franchise in the Marvel where they don't feel the need to, always undercut like the story or what's happening with like a quick joke or something supposedly funny. And it just cuts all the drama and the stakes out of what you're seeing if like somebody's fighting a character and is constantly coming up with wisecracks and I mean it works for Spider-Man and it works for
I get it.
Iron Man, but like for certain characters, it just became like I'm watching the same film over and over again. I'm watching an
inferior. I've recently rewatched most of the Marvel films up until Infinity War. Yeah, and I feel the same way.
Avengers was amazing as well.
I really like the first Avengers film as well.
Avengers was really cool. But let's talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. So what were your impressions? What do you think?
I really liked it, but I still had some problems with it. And this is coming from someone who's, I don't know, I call myself a bit of a normie plus when it comes to, DC. I've never been into the comics. I'm more of a Batman fan just through films. I remember seeing Tim Burton's Batman when I was probably about 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, great film. I like Batman Returns more though.
Batman Returns is a great movie.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it.
You'll love Shazam then. It's very it's Christmassy. Same kind of. Well, it's not really the same, but it's
again, I've put certain films off because I just feel general Hollywood and entertainment has gone down the hill significantly. And I just want to keep certain things away.
You're right.
When I feel the time is right,
You're right.
Because I'm running out, especially since COVID hit, we've had no production whatsoever. I mean, Wonder Woman 84 was terrible.
It was absolutely outrageous, wasn't it?
Shocking.
It was so shockingly bad.
Pedro Pascal was the best thing in that movie.
I didn't even like him. I honestly didn't.
He was the best thing in it.
I kind of didn't think of as a villain.
It was such a shame. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I thought the first one was really good.
And even the idea of, because I heard it was going to be a bit more kind of Richard Donner-esque. And I was thinking, yes, that's what we need right now. That's what people need right now. They need to give it just a good bit of entertainment fun.
An uncynical superhero movie.
Yeah,
I think she tried to go for doing a kind of Linda Carter style Wonder Woman, but now, the 70s Wonder Woman, but done now. And I don't know that really works. I think she should have gone more off the comic books and what's been done more recently with the character, which is more contemporary. It just didn't. It was. It just needed better writing. The thing that made the Richard Donner movies work were they had really good writing.
Yeah,
they had really good writing.
By the script, right? If you don't have a decent story, what do you have? Everything's got to be right. It's all in the script. You've got to put the time to the prep. If you don't prep anything properly, this goes for many things in life. If you don't,
I don't know. Do you think they did a table read of that script? Because I can't imagine that they seriously did a table read
Wonder Woman basically rapes that guy. Anybody saying, "Do you have a problem with this?" And let's not forget Wonder Woman. She's meant to be a strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
Yet she needs that Steve.
Yeah.
She's got to have that Steve. She's got to have that Chris Pine.
Right, exactly.
And it's just come on.
And after 50, 60 years, I'm supposed to assume. I think the problem
was he so amazing she couldn't get over him or meet anyone else?
I think the problem structurally with the Wonder Woman movies was setting it. Hey, how's it going? Superman always wearing a black suit. I can't show. This is one of my subscribers. I think the problem was structurally the way they set it as a franchise was really, really stupid.
Yeah, I mean it's all Warner Brothers. I mean,
no. Wait. Let me just explain so you can respond.
Yeah. Okay,
so basically, I think they should have either set Wonder Woman in the present or set it in the past, the entire franchise. Either commit to setting it in World War I and then go to maybe World War II, and so that you could keep the same cast of characters because they were likable characters that she was, that she had with her. They could have fought another something, you know, in the World War II era that connected to the, you know, the mother boxes or something like that in this film, and then maybe set
Nazis again, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, I know. I think it was so. My ideal thing would have been to just set the franchise in the present.
Yeah.
Why? And then, you know, if you did the second movie where something like Chris Pine was resurrected or something like that, then it would have only been like 5 years or something like that, or 3 years, and then you can understand why she hasn't moved on, rather than 70 years. You're telling me for 70 fucking years, Wonder Woman hasn't moved on from this guy, and it was just an appalling everything, and the action was bad, and everything was bad about it.
Yeah, but it was a guy that she only knew for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there must have been quite a lot of passion they had.
Must have been.
Right.
It was Chris Pine, to be fair. It was Chris Pine.
Fair, yeah. Same as like Lois Lane, kind of, you know, distraught about not getting, you know, Henry Cavill.
Well, Superman in this universe has just been completely obsessed with Lois Lane. He's just absolutely like 100% obsessed with her, and he doesn't seem to, you know, be interested in saving anyone else apart from her, which is why, for once, I actually liked this Justice League movie, which, you know, transitions us perfectly to the Justice League movie.
Yeah. Actually, just to kind of preface all of this, it's fascinating because this is the first time I can think of that we've seen a botched studio film through no fault of their own, really. I mean, the circumstances surrounding it were tragic. And you can't really blame them for trying to take it in a different direction, to try and get more bums in seats and to try and rescue several $100 million they pumped into this film, right?
Yeah.
With marketing and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can blame them for hiring Joss Whedon. And I don't think you can blame Joss Whedon for how the first theatrical release came out.
I think you can blame them for, I think that was a stupid move to hire Joss Whedon.
I don't think it was, given that he did the Avengers, right? If you're going to get someone to do a superhero ensemble movie...
Yeah, then get him to do it from the beginning. You can't get him to do it halfway
I understand that,
through.
but I think circumstance kind of forced their hand. And again, this is where Warner Brothers have been a bit like a headless chicken for so many years.
No, but Zack Snyder... Yeah, but Zack Snyder would have finished the movie even though the circumstances were so, you know, terrible. But they kept telling him, you know, they wanted a different movie from the one he was making. So that's why, with the pressure of what happened with his daughter, plus the studio constantly, you know, it was just too much for them.
Yeah, it's like any kind of, you know, when a plane accident occurs, right? It's often several things that lead up to it. It's not just one incident, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what happened with Justice League.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand why I think they should have taken Zack Snyder off after Man of Steel. Really.
Yeah, I think
because it clearly was a divisive movie, Man of Steel.
I liked Man of Steel up until the end.
I thought it was atrocious.
Really, all of it?
Almost all of it. I like the score. I like the cinematography.
Yeah, I actually saw it at the cinema, and you know, I kind of liked, you know, the little snippets we saw of Clark's life.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, there are some stupid bits. You know, he's trying to be incognito, then he kind of skewers this guy's truck on telephone poles.
Right, exactly.
It's just like, that's dumb. It's dumb.
But there was a lot of dumb. There was a lot of dumb, but it looked cool.
That's cool, kind of Snyder summed up to me in many ways.
Yeah, but I don't think this is the thing. I think this is very, very, and you know, as much as I say he should have been fired off the Man of Steel, and you know, BVS was, I think, again a very divisive movie. I liked BVS, but
again, I liked some parts of BVS. I mean, I haven't seen the extended cut, which apparently is a lot better.
No, it isn't.
No,
I don't think it's all right. I mean, it fits
again, you know, you shouldn't have to sit for 4 hours to get a semi-coherent film, right?
Well, that one was 3 hours, but yeah, you're right. Like again,
it's a long time for a film. It's longer than The Godfather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About the same time. It's just, you know.
Come
on.
I don't. Well, you know, if people sit in theaters for an opera or far more. You know, like it's
know,
not.
I think the problem with BVS
we have
is they tried to do too many things, right? It tried to set up Batman versus Superman. It did the death of Superman. It introduced Wonder Woman. You know, that's so many things for one film. And interestingly, I really didn't like Lex Luthor.
I like Lex Luthor.
I
like
really
the idea. I like the idea of having a young Lex Luthor who's kind of like a tech billionaire.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Silicon Valley dude.
Yeah. I thought that was a really good idea. I personally would have cast it different, but I didn't think that Jesse Eisenberg was as bad as people were making out. But
I don't think he was bad with what he was given. Right? I just didn't like the direction they took Luthor in. You know, I mean,
but the writing was strong with him. The writing, if you listen to what he's actually saying, the writing is actually very, very strong on that character. It's probably the best written character in that film is Lex Luthor.
You're probably right.
But the performance, I'm not saying the performance is the best performance. I'm just saying the writing there was very strong. If you look at like everything he says is like what a genius would say, because it's like got 3 or 2 or 4 meanings. Like he's really his pun game is really on point. If you listen to the amount of puns he does in the film, when he's speaking to people, and the amount of references like he's making to different things when he's talking to people, like that thing of I think the closest path to Superman is a pretty little road called Lois Lane. I just, it's just like stuff like that is really clever, like that he was saying. But again, the performance was so bombastic by Jesse Eisenberg that I think that didn't quite work. But again, that was David Goyer wrote Man of Steel, and
he's all over the shop though.
Everything I don't like about Man of Steel, I now think about it, is not Zack Snyder. It's David Goyer. I think someone
like Zack Snyder, who's, I think most people can agree, is very visually seductive.
Yes.
At least, like, I mean, there are several times in Justice League where I could just pause it and it's just beautiful.
Dude,
beautiful shots. I mean, visually.
Dude, there's a bit at the end where Flash, it's like a splash page out of the comic, where Flash is running and he's smiling, and he's just like waving back and forth, like running through the wind and smiling. And I was just like, that, because Flash is one of my favorite characters, and that was just, as you said, it's visually
I defer to
incredible.
Your knowledge on that, but
I was going to say that that David Goyer wrote the first one. I didn't like the writing in Man of Steel. That was my main problem with Man of Steel. The visuals were amazing, the score was amazing, the direction was amazing, all very innovative action scenes, all of that. A bit too much action at the end, I think.
Yeah, especially for me, because I saw it at the cinema and it was in 3D, so I had to put glasses on my glasses.
Yeah.
And it's just horrible. Several times I had to take the 3D glasses off and just rest my eyes.
Yeah.
It wasn't a comfortable experience for me.
I think Man of Steel actually plays better when you're just watching it on a little screen, funnily enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Than when you watch it on a big...
I've watched it several times over the years, and, I still quite like it in many ways, even though I recognise, it's more kind of dumb parts, especially at the end.
Yeah.
But anyway, tens of thousands of people died.
It was the ending was preposterous. I just thought it was way too much. But again, that a lot more could have been done if David Goyer had handed in a decent script. You as a screenwriter and me also, like, we both write ourselves, so we have some kind of knowledge of like writing. But anyway, let me just finish just quickly. So David Goyer then is brought on to write BVS. Right, so Batman v Superman, and he writes the script, they're going to go forward with his script again, even though it was really divisive what he did on Man of Steel, because it's that, he's connected to the Dark Knight trilogy, so that's going to sell.
Exactly.
But then Zack Snyder hires Ben Affleck to play Batman, and he brings in what's the fucking guy's name? He basically brings in the writer from one of his Oscar-nominated movies, and he says like he wants to rewrite the script because the script was probably trash. Probably. It was David Goyer, and so this guy writes over the script. So the structure of BVS remained the same, but the writing dramatically, I think, improves. So it was a mess in terms of the film, much like Man of Steel, but the writing in general, in terms of the dialogue and everything, improved massively.
Yeah.
This Justice League is completely written by that writer.
Yeah. It's such more of a consistent film than the theatrical release. I mean, what we've seen though is something unprecedented. What we've seen is you can see Snyder's parts from the theatrical release, and you can see the parts Joss Whedon did clearly.
Yeah,
and that's fascinating to see because I don't think we've ever seen that as an audience before.
Well, I don't think it was Chris Terrio who wrote BVS. So his writing, I think, is far superior to David Goyer. Even in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, David Goyer wrote with Christopher Nolan's brother.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've watched what is that sci-fi Westworld?
No, I haven't seen Westworld yet.
It's fantastic, by the way.
I've seen the original film.
It's the writer of Westworld who wrote The Dark Knight, basically. So anyway, that brings us again, to this Justice League film. So let's do something. What were your favorite parts? What were the negative parts? What were the worst parts?
Well, let's talk about the negatives first because I can just put those.
Okay. All right.
I think the negative parts were basically Zack Snyder's eccentricities. How he loves to play these morose classic songs over slow motion and characters brooding. So get that out of here, man. Come on. These little 2-minute music videos that just interrupt and slow down everything, that offer nothing of substance to the film whatsoever.
Which one in particular? Can you give me an example of the scene?
There's the bit with Lois Lane. There's the bit with Aquaman where it goes on about him being a king in the song. It's just like, just get on with it. Just shove that girl in the water.
I think you could have. I think those two in particular.
Yeah, and the singing Norwegian women or whatever with Aquaman and they sniff his jumper. It's just like,
that
could have been cut.
That could have been cut. That was definitely.
It's very little things.
That was definitely could have been cut. I was going to say
the constant slow motion as well. It's just like I get it for bits with the Flash or something.
The Flash was good. That's what I was going to come to. The Flash one was good.
Slow motion. I mean, put it
like no. I'm talking about when the Flash saved Iris West, and it had that song. Here I am. Dun, dun. I thought that was beautiful. To me, that was the one time that he was putting these songs in that it actually really worked. The rest of it was not great.
I mean, he did it in Watchmen to a degree as well. Although it kind of fit that film better.
Watchmen, it fit. It definitely
fit better. It didn't so much fit this as much.
No. It's the Justice League.
It didn't need the slow motion. There's just little things that I think are wrong with this cut of the film.
But I don't know that made it so bad to me that I really think this is the best DC movie.
Every time it happened, it took me out of the film, and I did just skip a few seconds on my laptop. Just skip. I'm like, okay, I don't have time for your morose bullshit, Zach. I don't care. I get it. They're sad. Let's move on. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I think you're being a bit unfair on those scenes. I get the one in the Norwegian
but again, they're
one.
not very long, but they just feel like an age.
No, but the
they're
Norwegian...
only a couple of minutes at a time. But
yeah, no, but the Norwegian one was the
I
one
like
where they were singing at the end. That was nonsense.
I didn't get that at all. And you know, when she sniffs Aquaman's jumper,
I didn't know what that was. I think the intention there is that he's trying to and I like this decision by him. But it's like he was trying to show that these are the modern day gods of, and of these different, and he was trying to like do it so that Aquaman, where would Aquaman be worshipped? What's the most likely? And so he wanted to look for a sea village and them singing the songs. That's what they would have done with the gods.
I understand that.
But I thought it was not
but
worth
it kind of completely juxtaposed with, the character of Aquaman. He's badass Jason Momoa. Like,
yeah, but
would you really worship that dude? That dude doesn't care most of the time. He doesn't care. It's just like,
that's the whole point.
Worship that guy.
It's to contemporize the gods. That's what he was trying to do.
Where I understand that kind of mythos. But I don't know. For me, it just didn't really fit. It didn't really add anything. It was just annoying. And again, it wasn't very long, but it was just long enough to kind of take me out of it. It's like, okay, let's move on.
Okay, all right. So so that was bad, and I agree with it. But I do think that the one with Flash really, really worked for me. I don't know if that worked for you, but that one where he saved Iris West, I thought was really beautifully done. So
again, for me, that wasn't Iris West. That was just some woman, right?
Oh, you didn't know it was Iris West?
No, because remember, I'm coming at this perspective from someone who's pretty much a normie plus. Like, I'm more aware than most normies would be, but I'm not super invested in it, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, a lot of mega fans, a lot of people who know their DC lore are often, I wouldn't say guilty, that's not the right word, but they often project characters and their knowledge of characters onto what's happening in a film. Right? I'm saying if you see this as a film, it's just like that character has no significance to me.
I'm interested in what you think of this. From Kay Bailey Jones says, I find the women of the Snyderverse difficult to connect to, sniffing jumpers and heaving breasts, or depressed and only there for a plot dump. Unless you're Wonder Woman, who seems to like to smash. What do you mean smash? Do you mean like smash things or sexually? I don't understand. I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, honestly, if I had Wonder Woman's body, probably both.
Yeah.
But
yeah. What do you make of that? Like, I don't.
Again, I think the trouble with the whole DCEU is the inconsistency, right? They clearly didn't have
comment
on like Marvel did.
Comment on that, on the women thing that he's talking about. Smash heads. Okay. So comment on what he was saying about the women in this movie, like, for instance.
Well, especially in this movie. I mean, who do you have? Like Lois Lane, who's barely in it. Martha Kent, who's even barely in it because half the time she's Martian Manhunter.
I was really annoyed by that scene.
Right? I thought, why do that?
Yeah.
Especially for someone like me who didn't really know who that guy was until the end. I'm like, then I get it.
Yeah, no, but I don't even think that. I think that was a really good emotional scene between Martha Kent and Lois Lane, and it's completely undermined by and it was, and especially in the context of I don't like how Zack Snyder has been treating Ma and Pa Kent the whole time. So they've always been, this kindly couple who look after Clark Kent. But in, Man of Steel, he's telling him to hide, let kids die, maybe, do all of this shit. In BVS, she's saying, oh, you don't owe the world a thing. So I was like, oh, finally, this is Martha Kent. She's going to encourage. She's strong enough that even when her son dies, she'll encourage, Lois to like move on and get on with life.
Don't hide Lois. You've got a talent. The world needs you. I thought that was a great scene, and then it was just completely undermined by it not being her.
By it not being her,
and by this guy being the general. It's just like, I think he could have used your help in Man of Steel if you were that guy all the time.
Yeah, if you're going to if you're going to use Martian Manhunter,
again, they do these things.
Bring him in the final fight scene
where they contradict and undermine their other films, either before or after. No,
but don't you think Martian Manhunter would have been much better used in the fight scene right at the end? Like maybe, Steppenwolf was getting the upper hand on Superman, and they needed somebody to split the mother boxes, and then in comes Martian Manhunter to
but Steppenwolf getting the upper hand on Superman. It's just no.
Well, no, Superman shouldn't be as powerful as he is in this series. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. That's another thing that really, really annoyed me. It annoyed me from the first movie that Superman is so powerful that he can just hold up Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Like, what is that? Like, he's just, if it was a woman doing that, like in the Marvel universe, the MCU, right? And it was Captain Marvel doing that to all of the Avengers. No, wait. If it was Captain Marvel doing that to all of the Avengers, everyone would be complaining, oh, she's a Mary Sue, blah, blah, blah. But because it's Superman, it's all right. Wonder Woman is always in the comics, and especially Wonder Woman is in the comics. She's supposed to be and was written as she isn't equal to Superman, obviously, but I'm saying in terms of her skill set, she's supposed to be able to give Superman a good fight. And in these times, especially, where we're in a generation where, I think women want to see like a powerful woman, really powerful woman on film, and it would be something that they could relate to.
Make her so powerful that she is a Mary Sue, like we saw with
how's being able to fight Superman being a Mary Sue.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so that's my point.
Yeah.
So, I just think it was a weaker scene. Think about the Avengers. So Iron Man fights Thor, right?
Yeah.
And Captain America fights Iron Man. It's not necessarily, you think, well, there's a bit of a power difference there. But Superman by himself can take on the whole of the fucking Justice League.
But the whole point of the film, though, it was to bring Superman back because that was their only chance, basically. The way they saw it.
I don't think that should have been the point of the film. That's what I don't like.
Well, that's what a whole lot of this film hinged on.
I don't think it should have been that.
But it was.
I understand that. I understand what that's trying to set up.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that you still could have done something where, okay, so there's a whole army of parademons and Steppenwolf, right? Okay, that can be a bit too much for Wonder Woman and Aquaman, because basically Wonder Woman and Aquaman would be the only ones who could probably, obviously Flash could help, but Batman is not going to be doing much against that, and Cyborg probably isn't going to be doing much against the whole army of those guys. So you still could have kept Wonder Woman very powerful, but we need Superman as well, because otherwise, with this army of parademons, Steppenwolf is a bit too much, because she can fight Steppenwolf, but then a bunch of parademons come and attack her. You could have done something like that, and then when Superman comes back, have the fight. Superman still wins. I'm not saying Superman doesn't win, but to just take them out like they're little children or something to him, I just thought it was. I thought it was a weak choice. I think they missed an opportunity to have that. That Thor versus Iron Man fight, right? In the Avengers, that was exciting. Like
it was great. It didn't last long either, but
but it was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun little moment. Let's see what they have to say. So, I will say I'm happy for the fans. I think DC suffer from a demographics issue. Their verse is suited to 15R rated, but they want the PG dollar.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I do think it was a big win, not only for fans, but for Zack Snyder himself as well. I mean, how often do you see someone get to revisit a film that's been
you never do.
You never do. This is the first time you've seen it.
Not for years and years later.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I was wrong as well. Like, because I didn't want the Snyder cut, because I was kind of like, I'm just fed up with what he's doing with specifically Superman. But like, I just thought the aesthetic was too. I don't think he was doing what he thinks he was doing. Right? Like, I thought that Nolan did it much, much better up until this movie. I think Nolan, when he basically thought, what would it mean for Batman to be in the real world? What would that look like?
Yeah.
And what would his supporting cast look like? And he really, really cleverly weaved it in so you realistically believe, even though it wasn't realistic in the end, because Batman was doing stuff you could never do in the real world. But you kind of were seduced into that kind of world where you believe that, hey, maybe Batman could exist. Now, obviously, with the Justice League, that's a little bit different. But you still could have done it where you grounded something like Superman, like, it's an alien who comes to this earth and, whatever. So what would that look like, right? And take the features of Superman. But it seemed to me that he, instead of doing what Nolan did, which was bring Batman, like with the core characteristics of Batman, into the real world, he changed Superman to fit in the real world. So he made Superman jaded and cynical, and
I didn't like that about I thought BVS was just a very dour film, especially. And what kind of normal cinema goer wants to see that? You want to go and see Superman be Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. But in this film, he was Superman.
Yeah, but for only a few minutes.
No, but I liked it. I liked him. My favorite scenes of him wasn't the action scenes. It was him just in on the Kent farm.
Yeah.
Talking to his mum, and I really liked it. And I was going to say, like, certain choices that Zack Snyder made in this were really fucking, to me, very clever. I think he finally did. He was like, okay, what would happen if Flash or Aquaman existed in the real world, right? So, for instance, like when Flash is saving Iris West, instead of just, like what Quicksilver would do in the X-Men movies, which is he just race, grab a person, and then, take them. Flash realized he was moving so fast that if he had have grabbed her, he would have just burnt her up and, basically killed her, right?
Yeah.
If he had have just grabbed her out of it. So he had to carefully maneuver her down so that, he could deal with the science of what he was actually, doing physically. I thought that was brilliant. I thought the Aquaman stuff where it was like, I thought this was stupid when I heard about it with the air bubbles. But what they were actually doing when the water was around them is that they were communicating, but they were communicating in kind of, I suppose it's echolocation, what dolphins communicate in, like kind of stuff. And I thought, actually, that's pretty smart. That is what would happen if you had like people living under the sea. And obviously, this waterbender could, open it up so that they can actually speak normally.
Yeah. Well, that's for our benefit, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure Atlanteans can speak to each other without making air bubbles all the time.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that was for our benefit.
Again, it's for our benefit because you couldn't have people speaking normally underwater because it would look stupid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get that equivalent.
I thought that was clever. I thought a lot of it was really, really smartly done. The only thing I think that Josh improved some areas. The areas that I think he improved was a little bit of the team dynamics. I think a little bit of the team dynamics.
A little bit more of the humor, just a little bit, not all of it.
In Whedon's cut.
Yeah, just a little bit. Because in this one, I thought I loved seeing more of Cyborg because he was barely in the theatrical one.
He was really good,
and it was really much better
good in this movie.
But I don't know. I didn't warm to him as much. Weirdly.
In this movie.
Yeah, weirdly. I know.
I thought it was really beautiful. That whole thing. I just
didn't really get the dynamic with, I kind of understand with him and his dad, right? But this is a 19-year-old genius level alpha Chad.
Yeah.
Right? Of a character. Right? Who could pretty much do anything. Athletic, genius level intellect.
Yeah.
And yet he cries when his dad doesn't come to a ball game.
Well, okay, look.
I really get that.
Look, that's from the comics.
I could get him be angry.
Right? Look, basically, I've never liked Cyborg as a character. He's, to me, just a token character, to be honest. Like, they put him in the Justice League because he was black. And they needed a black character. There's a whole story behind that, and I'm not going to go into it now.
I mean, going by just what you see in the film.
No, but this is what I'm saying. That they just took his origin story, which I've always thought was, in comparison to like Wonder Woman and Superman, like from Krypton and it explodes, and she's from Themyscira, and like the grandness of their mythology, and Batman, with his parents dying outside the opera house, and the grandness of their mythologies, just with him being a footballer and. He's a high school kid, and it just seemed like a mess of an origin. But
again, I didn't want him.
This version, I think that's about as good as you could make Cyborg's actual origin from the comics. Like, bring it to life where you actually feel for him. And I love the bit with where he gives the woman the $100,000. And
I love that bit. That was great. Because that showed you, because that was a great bit of characterization. Because he could have given himself $1 billion,
right?
He could have launched nukes all over the world. He could do anything at that point, right? But instead, he found this one woman who desperately needed help and gave her the help.
Yeah,
that's great.
So let me go.
With that, he was mopey. And it's just like, dude, you can stop nuclear warfare with a thought. Any potential with it, with a thought,
Yeah, I mean,
the kind of power he was said to have in the film. It's just like, would you be so mopey? I don't know. I didn't.
He's still a robot, dude. Like, he's still like, he's got his he's basically like a monster to everyone. He can't meet anyone. He's basically been made into like he's dead to the world, like all his friends, and he has to hide in his father's house all day.
Yeah, I get
it. Of course, he's going to be fucking depressed.
As well, so
I mean, I think that's perfectly logical. I think you're being a little bit too harsh on the character there. Like, what's he going to do with $1 billion? Like, go lay some chick, go pick up some chicks with his.
Look, but you have to bear in mind, the world. This is a world where Superman and Batman exist, right?
Yeah.
So what? People wouldn't accept a cyborg? Come on.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, what is he going to do with $1 billion? What?
I don't know. He could do anything. I'm just saying, he's.
It's like he's probably thinking, all right, what? Some girl's going to want to get off with my like.
Hey!
What do I?
He could generate any amount of vibrating machinery. I'm just saying. He could have a way of the time.
I'm sure, but
saying.
Like, it's
I get he doesn't have a penis anymore, and that's tragic for the man. But he could still have a whale of a time. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, fine. I understand he was a.
So long as his self-defense system didn't go active, that would be a bit awkward.
I was emotionally engaged in that story. I really was. Yeah. I wanted to tell you one thing I really loved about the movie, and tell me what you think.
Go on then.
I really loved all of the parents. To me, like they were the MVPs of this film, and they made, you know, all of the parents and the supporting cast, because that's what DC mythology really is about. It's like each of them come from their own separate worlds, whether it's Atlantis or Gotham, the dark streets of Gotham, or, you know, Superman with Krypton and Metropolis, and the Flash is Central City. So they all have their own little kind of worlds that they kind of exist in. And I really warmed to the way that they depicted all of the parents, from Hippolyta to Dr. Silas. I especially like Barry Allen's dad in prison, which is, again, I don't know if you know the origin of Barry Allen in the comics, but like his dad was, you know, framed for murdering his mother.
You kind of get that through the film anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
So
but that performance interesting is one that was largely unchanged from Joss Whedon's version.
Yeah,
it was a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much the same scenes.
Yeah. But I think it played better with the tone of this movie.
It did. I mean, the best thing about this film for me over the theatrical one was that it contextualized everything far better. So you understood more.
Yeah.
You know, in the theatrical, you didn't understand why Batman visited that the place in wherever it was, Norway or wherever it was, Siberia or whatever it was, on horseback. You didn't understand why he did that. It's like, you're Bruce Wayne, why are you just flying? And they kind of contextualized that, and you understood. You couldn't, because there was a storm. Just little things like that. But throughout the whole film, just helped contextualize things better. And I think the biggest change was with Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf was amazing, I thought.
He was amazing in this. He was so much better, because in the theatrical cut, he was just a cookie cutter, generic.
He was a really good villain. I thought that,
evil villain in the theatrical cut.
I understood his motivation, and it was kind of sad a little bit. Like,
it was really sad. You know, I mean, Darkseid was a bit harsh, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, I think in this film they said Darkseid had conquered 100,000 worlds.
Yeah.
This is Darkseid, and he wants Steppenwolf to give him 50,000 or whatever it was. It's just like, come on, that's a bit much.
Yeah, he wants 50,000 worlds before you can
I want
even
you to conquer half of what I've done, and I'm Darkseid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
So I thought Steppenwolf was absolutely, I thought he was a great villain. I like Darkseid, the little bits that we got of Darkseid, I really enjoyed. I thought he was quite menacing. I personally would rather meet Thanos on the dark street than bump into Darkseid.
Yeah, at least Thanos will give you a 50% chance.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that the whole concept of this movie, and it was done well in comparison with BVS and Man of Steel, was just like to bring the whole notion of the Greek gods and the Roman gods to like the modern day world. And each one of them represented this kind of, you know, larger than life God kind of figure. And it was, you know, who had raised them and their parents and whatever that had shaped them into the kind of, you know, distinct gods that they were. And it really played well into like the dynamic. I like that interaction between the several of these very different types of DC characters as well. So I mean, I think it's better than a lot of the Marvel team-up movies, to be honest. I think it's a bit long, you're right. And I certainly, the thing that I disliked the most was that future scene with the Joker.
Yeah,
I just thought that was...
I didn't think that served any purpose whatsoever. It was kind of like, they've got this footage, let's use it kind of thing.
No. He reshot that afterwards.
They reshot it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That was the little bit that he added.
Yeah. I mean, they showed a part of it in The Nightmare originally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go for it. Like, what you don't think it's a masterpiece, right?
No, I don't think it's a masterpiece.
Okay. Where would you rank it in terms of comic book movies you've seen?
Low,
high, middle?
if I was to give it a rating out of 10, I'd give it a solid 8.
Okay, all right. So we're on the same page then. I would give it about.
I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 full-blown masterpiece. I mean, how?
I wouldn't say that either. I would say it's a flawed masterpiece, not a 10 out of 10 masterpiece.
I think it's just good. It's just damn good. It's not exceptional.
I think it's exceptional. I really think it's exceptional. I think it's very, very different.
Again, I think the thing is, with Zack Snyder in particular, like I said, he's very visually seductive, right? He draws you in with these visuals. But if you dig a little deeper,
No,
I was happy to see Darkseid in this film, but he was a generic villain who wanted to conquer crap again and tread on the bones of people.
No, but Steppenwolf was the villain, and Steppenwolf, as we saw, was a layered villain.
Yeah, Steppenwolf was great, but Darkseid himself.
Yeah, but Darkseid wasn't. We don't know what Darkseid's about yet. That's for a future. Yeah, but we don't know why or what the history or anything. Like really, like you need to give him a chance to develop first before you can. Like the villain of this movie was Steppenwolf, really. Like that was who they were facing, and he had depth.
He was so much
better. Reason. He's better than 90% of Marvel villains, and probably best villain in the DCEU. I mean, he's not as good as Joker, but he's definitely. I'm talking about Joker in the
not Jared
Nolan. Yeah. Or even Joaquin Phoenix is better as well, but but in terms of the DCEU, he's the best villain easily. I don't even think you can argue that.
I can't, off the top of I can't argue against that either. And I'm so happy that they were able to turn him around, especially because any good superhero movie, you need a good villain.
Yeah,
you just otherwise there's no counterpoint.
I thought he was a really good villain, and I liked all of the team of the Justice League as well. I think Batman could have been given a little bit more to do than just be the recruiting guy.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Batman is only human still. He's great at fighting other humans, but he wouldn't last long against Steppenwolf.
No, of course not against Steppenwolf, but I expected them to mix it up a little bit more with the parademons and be a bit more effective against the parademons. And have a little bit more. Like I didn't like him just shooting.
Well, instead of just shooting them constantly.
Yeah, shooting the energy weapon. I thought he would have his own gadget.
The first time he meets the parademon, he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah, which I didn't mind. I didn't mind that. That shows that he's the human one. But I wanted him to be using his own gadgets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I did miss the gadgets. I mean, the grappling hook a few times. That was about it.
Yeah, the Batmobile was cool when he was doing the Batmobile stuff, but apart from that, I just didn't. I think the rest of the Justice League needed to be a lot more effective. Personally, I like the Flash. Oh my god, every Flash speedster scene was fucking masterful. That's one thing I'll say. Why I put this as a masterpiece. The main reason is the visual language in which Zack Snyder expressed superhero powers. Is the best I've ever seen in any superhero movie. The visual language in which he expressed the Flash's powers, he did it in all kinds of different ways, rather than just having bullet time. There was different, methods of expressing, and when he went into the Speed Force, I was just that was really good. So the Flash was done perfectly, and but the rest of the team, I thought, I wanted to see Wonder Woman go through about 20, 30 parademons, just beating them up, and giving Steppenwolf. I don't mind Steppenwolf, beating her in terms of using the parademons to
harass her or whatever.
While he's fighting her. But it would have been nice for her to have a little bit more of an equality in terms of fighting him. And then Superman comes along and, you know, does his Superman shit. That for me would have been to show that you do need the Justice League. It's not like we just have to get Superman back and then he can sort out everything for us.
There was that one kind of Avengers-esque, Age of Ultron-esque shot when they were all together. It was very similar to the one in Ultron.
Yeah.
And remember towards the end where they're all kind of leaping through the air and they're all in the frame together.
Yeah.
There was that one shot which was very similar.
Oh, with the Batmobile and
yeah.
That was cool. That was cool. I mean, look, that's really it. Like, I want to leave it at, like, so it doesn't go too long. But we'll talk further, like, after this. But final. So I would give it an 8 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I think it's an 8 out of 10 as well for me. And again, this is someone who's not super invested in the comics. This is coming from a normie kind of plus perspective.
Yeah. So I mean, I like it more than The Dark Knight, but I don't think it's as, you know, as slick and oiled a machine as The Dark Knight.
Well, it doesn't have that kind of key thing which The Dark Knight had, which was Heath Ledger's performance, right?
Oh, but all the performers were really good.
Yeah, they were really good. I mean, without Heath Ledger's Joker, you know, I mean, you could say that about many roles, but, you know, I think that was the key thing. Because my favorite Nolan film is actually Batman Begins. Yeah,
mine as well. Mine is actually Batman Begins. Let's talk about that after the stream.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that there's still so many flaws in it that I can't put it at that. But I think the heights of this movie are much, much bigger to me than The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
They're much, much, you know, like that, as I said, that Flash scene where he's running in the Speed Force is better than anything in the Dark Knight movies. It's better than anything in Batman Begins to me. It's one of the best comic book scenes I've ever seen, to be honest. So I just think the creativity of that. I am British. We're both British. Bruce Wayne. And
I'm afraid so.
Yeah, loved Ray Fisher. I loved Ray Fisher in this as well. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad he got more screen time.
Hope he has a good career. I hope he has a good career as well, given like the circumstances. How would you rank the Justice League? Just a quick thing, like at the end, like in terms of like who was the most entertaining, engaging of the Justice League. It's there for you to see.
Oh.
Don't overthink it, because
I mean, you know, I mean, I'm always a Batman bro myself, but in this movie, in this movie, it was probably the toss up between Cyborg and the Flash, to be honest.
Me too. I thought that the Flash,
you know, because their roles in this were so much more expanded upon than in the theatrical cut.
For me, it was Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, Cyborg. Those were the MVPs for me. Well, I think Flash really did the best for me. Like, maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm a Flash guy, but Flash.
We all have our biases, so.
But Wonder Woman and Superman. Honestly, I've never cared about Zack Snyder's Superman. In 2 minutes of him coming back after he'd gone through his like fugue state and you know, was back as back on the farm. I was in 2 minutes. I liked him more than any other version. Any other Zack Snyder kind of depiction of Superman. But anyway, thanks so much for joining us. See you on the flip side. And do you think they should restore the Snyderverse? I think they should let Snyder do Justice League 2, but I don't. I think they should tell him not to do the Nightmare scene. I think we've only just got the Justice League together.
Again, I think the trouble is, I think Snyder wanted to go for the Injustice storyline. And how many normies want to go and see Lois Lane get brutally killed and Superman turn evil?
I think it's a really bad idea. I think
I think that would be a terrible idea. It's great for a beat 'em up game, you know.
I mean, we've already just done Batman v Superman.
Yeah, but again, I think that was always the direction this storyline was going to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, but the thing is, it's going to be setting up that nightmare world. So Bruce Wayne says the nightmare world would be in Justice League 3. And I think that's too soon. I think Justice League 3 is even too soon. And number 2 is going to be setting that up.
I mean, maybe we'll never know. I don't know.
No, but let's stay with this for just a moment. Because I was going to say that... The nightmare world is going to be set up in Justice League 2. So what they're going to be doing is you're going to have Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn and Lois Lane killed so as to forward the journey of 3 male characters, the conflict of 3 male characters.
Yeah, that's.
And you think that's a good idea in this modern context?
That would happen.
Like 2 of the most popular female characters, basically Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn in the DCEU, being killed to further the conflict of Bruce Wayne and Superman and the Joker. That would never happen.
That would never happen.
It might do if they're stupid enough to go along with it. I mean,
I would. It would happen for obvious political reasons at this point.
You think that, but I'm saying they would wait for them to do it and then they'd criticize the shit out of it.
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh yeah, we want the Snyderverse to continue, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be all along with it. And they're not thinking about it until you visually see it. And then you think, holy shit, what has he done? And I just think he should really take time, like a few years to really think this story out.
Well, I think
the implications of it.
I don't think Hollywood is going to be in a position in the next year or so. I don't think the audience is going to be there.
But what I was going to say is that if I was Warner Brothers, if there's anyone smart at Warner Brothers at all, which probably there isn't, I would take the Tower of Babel story to Zack Snyder and say, start with that. Don't be the architect of the whole universe. Just bring us something. Go you and Chris Terrio and get whatever other screenwriter you want to get with it, and see if you can come back and give us a good pitch for adapting the Tower of Babel. I don't know if you know the Tower of Babel storyline.
No.
So Snyder's clearly a Batman fanboy. He loves his Batman, right?
Yeah, I'm just sad we're never going to see the Ben Affleck Batman film, because I think that could have been really good.
I'm happy. I'm really happy.
Yeah. You're happy about that?
I like the Batman that is coming out.
Well, we'll talk about the Batman that's filming right now.
Yeah, I think that's a much better idea. I think, if anything, I really wish they were doing the Rick Fumiyawa Flash movie, but that's another. But let me explain the Tower of Babel to you. So the Tower of Babel, yeah, exactly. Bruce Wayne says the Tower of Babel would be sick. It's basically a story in which Batman, realizing how powerful the Justice League are, decides to create a bunch of contingency plans to neutralize each one of them. And so one of his villains, like say, or Lex Luthor or somebody, it depends on, there's different versions of the story, but like in the original it was Ra's al Ghul, but in other versions it's other villains. But this one could be Lex Luthor, say, for instance, does it. They steal his plans to neutralize the Justice League, and then each one of them gets neutralized, including Bruce Wayne, and then Batman has to get out he's figured out that his plans has been stolen, and he has to get each one of the Justice League back, so as to, you know, to take on the guys who who unleashed his plans on the Justice League. Basically, I think that's a much better place to start. You know, because you've just got this Justice League together, and it will be his kind of thing, because he loves to, you know, he loves his Batman, right? Like, so that's why he's got Batman in the Nightmare universe, like, and he's making Justice League 2 into a Batman movie instead of a Justice League movie. I think it's just a much better idea of to use his love of Batman to. What do you think of that as a storyline instead of the Nightmare going?
I mean, again, I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but it sounds okay. But I mean, what would his motivation be for the contingency plan anyway? Just because they're powerful? Does he think Wonder Woman's just going to turncoat and, you know?
Well, it depends. You'd have to set that up that maybe they've been doing this for a couple of years now. The government are paranoid about them, you know. Something happened where they did something.
Where probably Marvel got it right with the Avengers, right? I think it was kind of political pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it was outside pressure, not from within. They trusted themselves, but you know, to a degree, anyway.
And that's the kind. Well, and also remember that Batman. They could use the fact that Batman's been having all these nightmares about a future world where Superman has taken over. Maybe they can add, you know, Wonder Woman to that as well. Like he's having like these premonitions of Wonder Woman and Superman taking over, you know, the planet. So then he comes up with these contingency plans to neutralize them. And you know what we'll find out in number 3 or something is that it wasn't actually this world's Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman who've taken over. He's thinking of a alternate world one, and they have to stop them, like the Injustice League for number 3. I don't know, something like that. I'm just spitballing.
I have to agree with Bruce Wayne here. I think a Batfleck film would have been really good. Personally, I think it could have been amazing.
I'm not saying it couldn't have been amazing. I'm just saying that I don't like that.
He knows how to tell a story. We forget he's got.
But so does Matt Reeves. I mean, I think.
Yeah, it's true. I'm looking forward to the Batman. I just don't know how much. You know, I'd hate to think how much, you know, COVID has disrupted it. You know.
Well, yeah, true, but like, I think it will be fine. I think it will be fine.
I hope it will be fine. I hope that it, you know, it's not been too derailed. Basically,
the reason why I like the Batman idea more than Ben Affleck's idea is that, you know, in his one, I think Bane was the least interesting villain for me in the Nolan trilogy.
Yeah, I didn't really like the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
I didn't really like it much.
And I don't like when Batman is taking on just physical threats. I like it when they update like characters like the Riddler, like Ra's al Ghul, like, you know, Scarecrow, Penguin. I like those villains a lot more for Batman, where he's got to outthink them rather than, you know, just physically be dealing with like just a big Batman martial arts movie.
Detective Batman, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what the Riddler presents for him, and that's why I think this Matt Reeves idea is just much better to me, like an updated Riddler.
Have you seen the recent fan film from Bat in the Sun?
I think I have, yeah. Where it's the Joker in prison or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I thought it was alright. It was alright. It was just like more. I have a problem because Batman's one of my favorite heroes. But at the same time, I have a problem with all the Batman obsession. I think DC has many different great characters, and it's Batman fanboyism that I think is a real problem sometimes with the DCEU.
But it's still Batman.
In its direction. I know, he's cool. I mean, he's amazing. And I think what they're doing with the Batman, that's what they should be doing with Batman.
Yeah.
You know, I liked Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne and Batman as well. So
yeah, I did. I just
especially in this film
again with this whole thing. I just wish there was more of it, and it was given a more coherent plan from the beginning, and it just clearly wasn't. And that's sad because I think the casting pretty much throughout has been pretty good. I think Henry Cavill is a great Superman.
Yeah.
Why he didn't have a trilogy of films, I don't know.
Yeah. Now I do. I would rather see a Henry Cavill Superman Brainiac story. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I love Brainiac. I think he's like one of the great DC villains. Anyway, so I've answered the question now. Yeah, it would have been an adaptation of the Arkham games, and I'm not.
Yeah, I love those games.
I love them as well, but like again, I'm much more into like him facing like. I like this. It's like basically using the noir style of Batman to make a kind of almost like what's that? Is it Seven? Like that serial killer film. Yeah, I like that. Like that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's me.